animal philosophically, and yet it's the same animal practically now. And that's scaring me a little bit.
Yeah, the Hannah Arendt book was called, about the Adolf Eichmann trial, was called The Banality of Evil, which was basically, hey, your middle-class neighbor, given the right set of circumstances, would be willing to turn the voltage up to, 10,000.
Yes.
But this Western Pennsylvania thing is kind of interesting. They still haven't caught this guy, this Eric Frein, and they've condemned him without a trial. The police out there have said, hey, we're coming to kill you, which, like, hey, how do you know he actually did anything? We don't fucking know what he did. So
that's right. You ever see when they go arrest, like, a accused child molester, there are people waiting at the damn jailhouse? I hope you fry. Yeah. Wait a minute, you don't know anything about this guy. Whatever happened to presumed innocence? That's gone in this country, man. People just make their assumptions and stick to them.
Yeah, well...
It's ridiculous.
I don't know. Well, I'm kind of... If you're a child molester, I don't know. But
well, I'm the same way, but what if he's innocent? What if they got the wrong guy?
Oh, or if they planted stuff on his computer or something. Yeah, I guess.
So what I want to see is the evidence. Once you give me the evidence and show me he's a child molester, sure, go ahead and fucking fry him. Give him the injection, whatever you want to do.
But yeah,
leave him in prison for a while. The prisoners treat child molesters very well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Pennsylvania State Police have basically said, we're coming to kill you to this guy who we have no idea whether or not he's the actual responsible party. So
yeah,
that's.
I don't know whatever happened to proving the case, man.
Could be, but.
I don't know.
Wow. Well, we're probably scaring the hell out of our audience right now. They're like, what the hell's wrong with these two? So.
Yeah, really. Well, that's what intelligent talk can do when you start uncovering truths that are nobody's talking about. So we're going to have to scare them a little bit. You guys know, though, that I don't operate on the fear principle, and I hate Alex Jones for doing it. About 10% of major conspiracy theories, though, I think do deserve a second look. But 90% it sells, and that's the reason he uses it. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really listen to her like Alex Jones. And as far as conspiracy theories go, that sounds like a good percentage. I mean, hey, did we land the moon or not? Why don't we go back? Or world? What's the World Trade Center 7 or something? Oh, there's some. Who knows? I don't know. I kind of think those people are cuckoo, but then again, all I get are media representations of the truth, and who knows.
That's right. That's why you got to dig. You got to get into some of these message boards and listen to what people have to say. But, I've got a friend who's a PhD. She's a geologist. She graduated high school with me. Super smart lady. And she was talking about New York, and she says, you know what? I'm about sick of these conspiracy theories because I was down here with my friends that saw the fucking planes hit the buildings. We had to smell the burning and the burning bodies. And they hate it because it's not recognizing what happened. And if you believe it was an inside job, then you're giving the terrorist a pass. And it's, for them, it doesn't feel like justice. For New York natives, they don't buy into this shit. And if you look at the evidence, it's just not convincing. I mean, everything I've seen from WTC-7 to there being military jets flying into the buildings, disproven by very smart people. And what happens is these conspiracy theorists, they found anomalies. So you might have a truckload of evidence and then 3 pieces that don't match. Well, they turned that into an entirely alternate theory. And people jump on that for some reason. And I just tell people 9/11 wasn't an inside job. It just, it was exactly what it's been reported as in the 9/11 Commission report. And yes, there are some mistakes in that report, but mistakes don't equal conspiracy.
Yeah. So where were you that morning?
I was in Vermont. I was changing a videotape over for my daughter. We were going from Kipper, the British dog, to Clifford, the big red dog.
1 year old or 2 years older?
Yeah, she was 1 then. And, or let me think, this was September 11th, so she would have been 15 months old. Okay. And I was changing it over, and because I was changing the videotape over, the TV kicked on, and I saw the first burning building. And I'm going, oh, what happened here? And check this out, dude. Here's what I thought when I saw the second plane come into the frame. My brain, I swear to God, said this. Oh, no, that's a fire plane. It's coming to extinguish the fire because firefighters can't get up there. That powder, not only is it not going to help, but it's going to land on the people on the streets. That was the thought that went through my head. And then, bam, it hit. And my first thought after that, swear to God, was, where's David Copperfield? I didn't believe it. I didn't believe what I saw for the next hour. I just didn't believe. I was thinking War of the Worlds or something. Who's doing this scam? So, how about you, man? Tell me about your 9/11 experience.
Oh, my 9/11 experience is, I believe 9/11 was on a Tuesday, the original 9/11. Am I correct in that, or?
Yes, it was. All the worst shit happens on Tuesdays, including 9/11.
So, yeah, at the time, I just moved to Chicago, February of that year, and I started going to a country bar called the Hideout off of North and Elston in Chicago, over by the Home Depot with the hookers and the and the beaners for day labor. So at the time, I'm living with my girlfriend, who was my girlfriend of like 16 years eventually. And so she and I, we gone to Monday nights at the Hideout were a big night to go out there, and we would go there and we'd hang out with a local, like Jeff Twitty there were all these local musicians, Andrew Bird, Jeff Twitty, Leroy, all these local. So we go there and we drink with them. Sometimes we go to the comedy place down the street, Second City at Old Town Ale House. But so we would show up on Tuesdays together. She was the receptionist, secretary, and I was one of the main developers there. And so we would usually roll in late. We were both hungover. So we would listen to, at the time we had gotten Lemony Snicket's a series of unfortunate events, I think it was called. It was a books on tape thing we listened to.
Yes.
Yeah. So like we would wake up, and we like, okay, we got to drive to work together, and so we basically we both wake up with a hangover from Monday night. Get ready, pile into our car. Drive the 35, 40 minutes, from where we were to work, listen to Lemony Snicket. Wandering to work about, 9:20 or something. And the entire office is gathered around this little, at this time, this is 2001, a little black and white kind of combo VCR television thing. And they're like, was lasered in on this television. We're both like, what's going on? They're like, you guys haven't heard? We're like, no, we weren't listening to radio. We didn't see TV. All we heard was and they're like, people are attacking New York City, and we're like, whoa. So, and that was, from there, I really don't remember what happened. I mean, we came on our work day, but yeah, so.
Yeah. You spend the rest of the day watching the news?
Not really, actually. No, I mean, we watched it. I think actually, since we were in Chicago, 9:20 was actually like 10:20 in New York, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, by the time we were cognizant of what was going on, it was already kind of under control, I think.
Okay.
Except for the Pennsylvania plane, which is probably to me, it's the weirdest part about it, because I'm pretty sure the U.S. government shot that plane down, but
it's possible.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the dispersion field for it seems too wide for it to have been a crash, because a crash should not disperse that many square miles, but I don't know. And if it did, it was probably a good move, because it was probably heading for a population center, and they shot it down in a place where there wasn't population. But yeah, I mean, 99% of what I've been told by the government or the media, I believe 2 planes flew into the towers. I believe the Pentagon thing, and there was a 4th plane that the government hasn't told us to shut it down, but I'm pretty sure they did shoot it down, and I think that was probably a good move. So.
Well, if they did shoot it down, I would say that they were well within their rights, because if you can kill 200 to save 2,000, the numbers kind of kicks in. But I don't know. One of my heroes is Todd Beamer. Maybe he's a myth now.
Oh, Let's Roll? Is that him?
Yeah, Let's Roll. Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie yet. Did they make a movie about him? Or?
Yes, they did. I think it's just called Flight 93, actually.
Yeah, all my pilot friends love that movie, by the way. So I can't talk.
I'll bet they do.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, but isn't there some discrepancy whether or not he could have actually communicated that message or gotten reception? But
they were talking about the sky phones and what they could do, and whether or not the cell phones would have connected to a tower.
I think they would have.
I don't know.
I mean, at that low, because these were not good pilots, so they flew the planes much lower than you would if you were, they flew them on under a level. I think they would have picked up the towers.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
But you've seen that movie, then it's worth watching. So
I think so. It's almost it's not that great as a Hollywood production, but it does seem to be a good step-by-step of what at least the claimed story is. Okay. So it was very entertaining to me. I was so inspired after I saw that I went and made some designs and tried to sell them on I forget that website where you can put any print on shirt and stuff. Cafe Press, I think it's called.
Oh yeah. And there are cheaper alternatives to that, but go ahead.
Are there? I would like to know what they are. But I went on there and put, it was a picture of the Statue of Liberty in a karate pose.
Oh.
And I put right below that, "Let's Roll, Flight 93."
That sounds pretty.
And then on the back of the shirt, I had a picture of Todd Beamer.
Okay.
But yeah, he was pretty much one of my heroes. But for all I know, I don't have proof that happened exactly the way it was reported. So maybe it is a myth. Maybe they shot it down.
So you think that what happened is the passengers just took over the flight and made it crash?
I believe that. No, I don't believe they wanted to make it crash, because I believe there was one guy on the flight that said he had some flying experience. I think they were hoping for a miracle, but they knew they had to get those guys out of there or death was guaranteed. If it's true that that's what happened. And frankly, I would have done what Todd Beamer did. So I know people are capable of it. Once you know for sure that terrorists are using planes, and now yours has been hijacked, and the first 3 have been exploded into something, you can start doing some math and say, we don't have much of a chance. And I learned to fly on a computer. I don't know how to fly a real plane, but I would have taken a shot compared to the alternative. So yeah, I would have tried to go up there and rip them out if I could find 5 or 6 guys that would work with me. But they were terrified. They had to be terrified. So how clearly could they have been thinking,
But you've been in the military too, and you know that kind of adrenaline, terror kind of turns to some sort of excitement and sort of the idea that you can do this, you can make things right. I think more than I don't think he was scared. It doesn't sound like he was scared, but
he didn't sound like it on the phone call that I heard. But I'll bet he was. I'll bet he was clinched.
It's an interesting, obviously episode of American history, and I'll have to check out the what's it called,
Flight 93.
I'll check out that movie because all my pilot friends think it's the 100% truth, and I kind of think we shot it down. But obviously the government could never say, hey, we deliberately killed all these people, but I would have no problem with it if they did, because it's probably the right call.
I couldn't blame them if they did. It's just a numbers thing. If you got to kill 200 to save 2,000, that just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you've got 2 planes in the 2 towers. You've got the other one in the Pentagon. So you got this one, and they picked a point where it was over a not very populated area. So
that's right.
But
there were some witnesses to the crash, not to the actual crash, but to the plane flying over, and one of them said he saw it turn upside down. Now, the government could have paid him or threatened him to say that, but it sounds like there was a struggle, and the terrorists realized...
that sounds more like the pilots are being fucked with then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well.
And they said, well, we're not going to get to our target, but we're going to kill these Americans anyway, so let's run this bitch into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on that plane, you assume you're dead. You're just trying to not have it be any worse than it can be, so...
Right.
And the people who think the Pentagon thing is fake, there were people who were on news channels and shit on that fucking Pentagon. I don't understand how they think it's a missile. That was really a plane. Okay, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there was some like CNN report. Some reporter's wife was on the fucking plane. She like calls and says, "Hey, we're about to fucking crash." It's like I don't think that was made up. So,
Yeah, the truth movement, quote unquote, claims that she was planted and that she's been carted off to Mexico to live in peace for the rest of her life and stuff like that. They point to evidence like, well, if the wings went in, where are the breakages from the wings? But if you look at the build of the Pentagon, those steel beams were much stronger than the ones that they had in the World Trade Center. So the wings would have snapped off instantly.
Yeah.
So it would have looked like a missile hole, And there were people on the highway that saw the plane coming in, knocking down light poles. So were they paid off? Were they paid off by the government? If this was a conspiracy, then there'd have to be no less than 50,000 people involved that haven't spilled their guts yet.
And also, it's a pretty badly. The world. I mean, I don't know. I think Time Magazine or something considered giving Muhammad Atta the Man of the Year for pulling off the World Trade Center thing, which. I mean, to some extent, obviously I'm an American. That's horrifying, but at the same time, it's like, holy shit, you really did something kind of, pretty amazing here. Whereas, the Pentagon thing was kind of, it happened and stuff. But if you were going to be a conspiracy theorist, you might come up with a different scenario there, I guess. Or if you're going to plot that out.
Yeah. Well, they selectively ignore evidence for, and then they cherry pick to get the evidence against.
Yeah.
And that's what these guys do. If you ever watch a conspiracy theorist, go on YouTube and watch some of these conspiracy theorists in New York talking to people near the, the World Trade Center site.